In this video, we are going to discuss the law of cosine. Law of cosine relates the length of the sides of a triangle to the cosine of its angles. So if we look at this triangle here, we can write down the law of cosine like this. I can write c square is equal to a square plus b square minus 2ab cosine gamma. I can write this for the different sides too. So let's go and write it for side A. I can write it like this. A2 is equal to b square plus c square minus 2bc cosine alpha. Side B, I can write b square is equal to a square plus c square minus 2ac cosine beta. So this is the law of cosine. You should not confuse the law of cosine with the law of sines. We also had a video for the law of sines. You can go and check it out. But this is a different, they are different. So this is a different rule here. Now let's see how we can prove this law. So I'm going to write it down again for this triangle. I'm going to draw a perpendicular line from point C here. I'm going to call it, let's say, H. And now I call this part L1 and this part L2. So now I can have in the triangle AHC, I can write the L1 as follow. So L1 here will be B cosine alpha. B cosine alpha. And if we take a look at this triangle here, BHC, I can write L2 as A cosine beta. So L2 is A cosine beta. So basically I can write the side C, which is L1 plus L2 as B cosine alpha plus A cosine beta. B cosine alpha plus A cosine beta. So now I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by C. So let's go and multiply both sides by C. I'll have C square is equal to CB cosine alpha plus CA cosine beta. Let me call this equation number 1. I can derive the same equation for the other two sides, side A and side B. So I will leave that to you guys, but if you follow the same process for these two sides, you will have these equations. A square is equal to AC cosine beta plus AB cosine gamma. I'm going to call it equation number 2. And again for side B, I can write B square is equal to BC cosine alpha plus AB cosine gamma. And I'm going to call it equation number 3, right? So now I'm going to add the left side and right hand side of equation 2 and 3. So from equation 2 and equation 3, I can write it like this. A square plus B square is equal to AC cosine beta AC cosine alpha and these two parts are equal, so it will be 2AB cosine gamma. Let me call this equation number 4. So now if I subtract the both sides of equation number 1 and equation number 4, I will have this. So from equation number 1 and 4, so from these two equations, I can write it like this now. A square plus B square minus C square is equal to AC cosine beta plus BC cosine alpha plus 2AB cosine gamma, this minus this part, which will be CB cosine alpha plus CA cosine beta. Yeah, let me call this equation number 5. So now let's go and take a look at this equation in more detail. So I'm going to write it again here. So I'm going to basically rewrite the equation number 5. A square plus B square minus C square is equal to AC cosine beta plus BC cosine alpha plus 2AB cosine gamma minus BC cosine alpha minus, I'm multiplying the minus into the parentheses, AC cosine beta. So now here, if we cancel out some parts, AC cosine beta here with AC cosine beta, BC cosine alpha here with BC cosine alpha, I will have A square plus B square minus C square is equal to 2AB cosine gamma. And this means C square is equal to A square plus B square minus 2AB cosine gamma, which this is the law of cosine, and we basically prove the law. So now let's take a look at some examples. So this is the first example. We have this triangle here. This side is 10, this side is 8, and this angle here is 30 degrees. And we want to find the value of the other side. So I'm going to name this triangle, and let's say I'm going to find this angle. And this side is C, this is B, and this is A. So if I write the law of cosine, I can write it like this. C square is equal to A square plus B square minus 2AB cosine gamma, which here is C square is equal to 8 square plus 10 square minus 2 times 8 times 10 times cosine 30. Then I have C square is equal to 164 minus, and if you calculate this, you'll have a number like this, 138.56, and then C square is equal to 25.43, which means C is 5.04. So now I want to find the alpha. What is the value of alpha? For that, I can easily use the law of sines here now. I'm going to use both law here. First, I'm going to solve it based on the law of sine, and then I'm going to solve it again based on the law of cosine. With both of them, we can now find alpha. So the first one is the law of sines. So based on the law of sine, I can write sine alpha over 8 should be equal to sine 30 over the value of c, which we found it here, 5.04. And from here, we'll have sine alpha is equal to 8 sine 30 over 5.04, which this guy will be approximately 79, and therefore alpha is equal to arcsine or sine inverse of 0.79, which if you use your use degree on your calculator, you will find the value of alpha as 52.5 degree. Yeah, so we found the value of alpha. Now let's take a look and see what if we use the law of cosine. So I'm going to now find the alpha by using the law of cosines. So here I'm going to write the law of cosine for side A and angle alpha. So I will write it like this. A squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine alpha. I have the value of a here, 8. So it will be 64. A squared 64 is equal to 10 squared, which will be 100, plus c squared here, which is 25.40 minus 2 times b, which was 10, and c, which was 5.04 times cosine alpha. And this means 64 is equal to 125.40 minus, if you calculate this, it will be 100.8 cosine alpha, which means cosine alpha 64 minus 125.40 over minus 100.8, which the value of this fraction will be 0.60. And therefore alpha will be arc cosine or cosine inverse of 0.609, and approximately alpha will be equal to 52.47, which is 52.5 degree. This is the same value that we found for alpha here using the law of sine. So now let's take a look at another example here. Okay, here we have a triangle But now in this case, we have the value of all sides of the triangle, 8, 6, and 10. And we want to find, for example, this angle. I'm going to call it A, C, B, which means this is C, this is B, this is A, and this angle. So again, let's write the law of cosine for this triangle. Based on the law of cosine, I can write C square is equal to A square plus B square minus 2AB cosine gamma. Right? So I'm going to now use the numbers here. Will be 10 square is equal to 8 square plus 6 square minus 2 times 8 times 6 times cosine gamma. 100 will be 64 plus 36 minus 96 cosine gamma, and this will be 100, this is 100, so this means minus 96 cosine gamma is equal to 0, and this means cosine gamma is equal to 0, and then gamma will be cosine inverse of 0, which the answer here will be 90. So what if I go and find the alpha here? Again, like the previous example, I can use both the law of cosine and law of sine here to find the alpha. But here, I will leave the law of sines to you guys, and I'm just going to use the law of cosine here to find alpha. So for alpha, I can write the law of cosine in this way. For the side A, I can write A square is equal to B square plus C square minus 2BC cosine alpha. This means 64 is equal to a square of 6, which will be 36, plus a square of 10 will be 100, minus 2 times 6 times 10 cosine alpha. And if you calculate this with your calculator, you'll have 120 cosine alpha is equal to 72. Cosine alpha is equal to 0.6, and therefore alpha will be arc cosine or cosine inverse of 0.6, which approximately alpha will be 53.30 degree. Of course, now you have alpha, you have gamma, and you know that the sum of all angles in a triangle will be equal to 180 degree, and you can easily find this angle as beta 2. Another point here is that the law of cosines generalize the Pythagorean theorem. Let's take a look at this example here. I'm going to write the law of cosines for side C. So I can write C square is equal to B square plus A square minus 2AB cosine this angle, which is 90 degree, or in radian pi over 2. But we know that the cosine of pi over 2, or cosine of 90 degree, will be 0. Therefore, C square is equal to B square plus A square, which this guy is the Pythagorean theorem. So keep in mind that the law of cosines always generalize the Pythagorean theorem too. With that being said, it would be great if you like the video and subscribe the channel for more content like this. See you all soon, and peace.